Good morning. Good morning, YouTubers, stock Twitters. We got ourselves a little pullback. And let's take a look at a few things. Let's go to the Renko chart. Look at that. Is that not amazing? Look where we're headed. Coming right down to it. The scene of the crime. That was the previous high and broke out. So now that was resistance. And when they broke through it, it now becomes support. Maybe, maybe not. But I got to tell you, we've had a pretty nice week. We didn't do a lot of trading. We get down around there again, and it being Friday, I think we take a trade off the table. I think we take it off, but we shall see. So we look at the swing machine intraday. The 5 minute VIX is, well, it's actually trending down. So this, may not be much more to this. Looking at our Dow here, the ES went short at 840. The NQ went short at 825. This 500, 2500. There's 3 grand in profits. And the Russell also getting hit. Gold's giving a little bit of a bounce. I think you want to keep your eyes on the yen. We don't have it up. The yen is really down on its dauber, and Japan isn't going to take all this inflation. They start to raise rates again. That could be the catalyst for the American dollar to come in, and also for these markets to come in as well. We'll see. But now again, just as a review, we traded. Good morning, Tina. Good morning. We traded on Sunday night, last Sunday, for a couple of little trades. And then we traded on Monday for a couple of little trades. Put us up about 1500. Then a Monday night, on a daily basis, let me show you. Let me go to the VIX. We made a video on this, and I want to explain again for folks that may be passing by. The VIX on a daily was in panic sell. And every market, including the Dow, and I'll go to the Dow and I'll change the Dow to a daily, was in euphoria. But every single one of them on a daily basis, euphoria and the VIX in panic. Now that doesn't happen every week, doesn't happen every month. It does happen 5 or 6 times a year. So when it happens, we like to exploit that. Now it can happen in the reverse, right? We can also get, well, I'll explain what happens when it's here. When it's there, when the markets are in euphoria and VIX is in panic, they're yelling in the streets. They're so happy. They're so rich, right? And that's when Warren Buffett even says, when they're yelling, you want to be selling. Or when the VIX is low, you want to go. So we made a decision rather than overwork it this week, and I had a number of things that I had to be doing during the course of the week. I said, let's move in and get short the Dow. Now we could have done the Nasdaq. We would have made much, much more. Could have done it with the ES. I chose the Dow because I know the Dow to be less volatile, and we're like, you know what? It'll be should be a nice trade. We had a drawdown of $950. We had a quick run up of almost 2,000. Then she pulled back, and she was mostly profitable most of the week. And here we are. We're at 3,300. So we have a decision to make today going into the weekend. Do we want to continue to hold it, or do we want to take our profit? Now, we are active traders. We weren't that active this week, but we are active. So we're inclined to take it. Now, we also, though, have options on the S&P. That we do. And those were out 35 to 45 days. And they're still out there. And we'll take a look at those at the end of the day. But on a daily basis now, we have the VIX coming up. And then we have even the Dow down in here. They pull back to the mean. You can see, and they're pulling right back to the mean. So that would be a very nice trade. Now, if we had done 10 of them, would have been 30 grand. But we're going to trade in proportion. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to put this back to a 5 minute, but that's where that trade come from. Now it can reverse itself, right? You can, and it does happen. It most certainly does when the VIX is in euphoria and the markets are in panic. And it's very, very hard to do because then they're all crying in the streets. I want to tell you how much money they've lost. They're all crying and they're all panicked. And that's when you want to come in and do what? When they're crying, you want to be buying. But when the VIX is high, you want to buy in general terms. What's beautiful about Swing Machine, it gives us the precise moment. And that precise moment doesn't last there. It doesn't stay there very long because we're not the only ones looking to exploit that. There aren't many retail folks doing it, but there are other hedge funds and machines doing it. So we're to the good $4,400 for the week. That's a very nice week. Very, very nice. You know, we're not trying to make it all, not trying to make a year's pay in a day or in a week. We're just trying to come in and extract cash flow from the money flow. So we hope you've had a good week. Tina, I hope you had a good week. And if you're coming by and you're new and you want to visit the website, please do. Any questions, let us know. I'm going to let you watch. I'm going to put some brakes on this trade in a moment because I've got to take Ted for his walk, and then I'll be back and we're going to let you watch. And then probably the middle part of the day, we'll need to turn down. So we got to get caught up on our other work. But any questions, let us know. But do you remember, it was just a few short days ago. Remember when we came here to the options club selector? Do you remember we had the whole S&P 500? And do you remember we did this? And there was just a pant load of option trades on the dark side. Just a ton of them. Look at this one here. Here's Adobe. This is yesterday. You could have bought a put debit spread. It's down 21 bucks today. How would that have worked out? So there was just a ton of them. There's not a ton of them now. And we have members that got on those. That's where they get them. But now what do we got? Now we got a lot more on this side of the ball. So these will be the trades maybe for next week. And then we come back. And we don't worry about next week, the week after that, the week after that, next month. I know you want to. You can't. Don't do that. Live in the moment. It's very relaxing. everyone, it's you know, you can't relive the past trades. You know, they were trades. And this was a nice trade. It went well, but once it's over, it's over. And then we've got to move on. And we got to come in and do it again. And that's either a good thing or it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing, I hope. There was a great let me go get it. I'm gonna play this for you. I hadn't seen it. And this is the football coach. Well, let me go find him. I can play the audio. I think I can get it. Nick Saban giving a little short lecture. This is Nick Saban when he was still coach at Alabama.
Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing. You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So, nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance. That's the only thing. There should be nothing else. Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing.
I love that. So simple. So very simple. And it's every day. It's every week. And that's a good thing. As I say to Susie, what else would I be doing? Staining my front doors? Oh God. I've got to yeah, I've either got to hire somebody or I've got to stain the front doors now. We just finished the landscaping and you know, I would much rather be trading during those hours. Trading presents it's such a wonderful thing. So much freedom. I hope you've had a good week. If you want us to plug anything in, let us know. And I will be back. I've got to take Ted for his morning ritual. And I'll be back to answer any questions. Enjoy. Good to see you, Tina.
It was raining hard in Frisco. I needed one more fare to make my night. A lady up ahead waved to flag me down. She got in at the light. Oh, where you going to, my lady blue? It's a shame you ruined your gown in the rain. She just looked out the window. She said 16 Parkside Lane. Something about her was familiar. I could swear I seen her face before. But she said, I'm sure you're mistaken. And she didn't say anything more. It took a while, but she looked in the mirror. Then she glanced at the license for my name. A smile seemed to come to her slowly. It was a sad smile just the same. And she said, how are you, Harry? I said, how are you, Sue? Through the too many miles and the too little smiles, I still remember you. It was somewhere in a fairy tale. I used to take her home in my car. We learned about love in the back of a Dodge. The lesson hadn't gone too far. You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the footlights. I took off to find the sky. Whoa, I've got something inside me to drive the princess blind. There's a wild man wizard, he's hiding in me, illuminating my mind. Oh, I've got something inside me, not what my life's about. 'Cause I've been letting my outside tide me over till my time runs out. There was not much more for us to talk about. Whatever we had once was gone. So I turned my cab into the driveway, past the gate and the fine trim lawns. And she said, we must get together, but I knew it'd never be arranged. Then she handed me $20 for a $2.50 fare. She said, Harry, keep the change. Well, another man might have been angry, and another man might have been hurt, but another man never would have let her go. shirt. And she walked away in silence. It's strange how you never know, but we'd both gotten what we'd asked for such a long, long time ago. You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the footlights, I took off for the sky. And here she's acting happy inside her handsome home, and me, I'm flying in my taxi, taking tips and getting stoned. I go flying so high when I'm stoned. Dungarees, looking all grown up and so very pleased. When you write your poems, they have so much to say. When you speak your dreams, it takes my breath away. You know I wanna be a ball player, a regular slugging fool, but both our dreams must wait a while until we finish school. And so you and I will watch our years go by. We'll watch our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then till our time just drifts away. There you stand in your wedding dress. You're so beautiful that I must confess, I'm so proud you have chosen me. When a doctor is what you wanna be. You know I wanna be a painter girl, a real artistic snob, but I guess we'll have our children first. You'll make a home, I'll get a job. And so you and I will watch our years go by. We'll watch our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but we will dream again, and we'll be happy then till our time just drifts away. Listen to the seasons passing, listen to the wind blow, listen to the children laughing. Where do broken dreams go? There you stand in your tailored suit, so many years gone by, but you're still so cute. We take the car to go and meet the bus when our grandchildren come to visit us. You say you should have been a ballerina, babe. There are songs I should have sung, but I guess our dreams have come and gone. You gotta dream when you are young. And so you and I, we watched our years go by. We've watched our sweet dreams fly far away. But maybe someday, I don't know when, but
child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. Said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then. I come fresh from the street, fast on my feet, kinda lean and lazy. Not much meat on my bones and a whole lot alone and more than a little bit crazy. The old six string was all I had to keep my belly still. And for each full hour lesson I gave, I got a crisp $10 bill. She was married for 7 years to a concrete castle king. She said she wanted to learn to play the guitar and to hear her children sing. So I'd show up about once a week in my faded tattly jeans, with a backlog full of hobo stories and dilapidated dreams. She said, I wanna learn a love song full of happy things. She said, I wanna learn a love song, won't you let me hear you sing? She said, I wanna learn So I tried to teach her a couple of chords and an easy melody, but it always turned out she'd rather listen to my guitar and me. I could hear her old man laughing in the den, playing stud poker with the boys, while I sang so soft in the living room, too scared to make much noise. I came one week and the den was dark, and she met me at the door, and we sat on the couch and we sang and talked till I could not sing no more. The silence kept on building, her eyes grew much too wide, and I could hear both of our heartbeats, but there was no place to hide. She said, I wanna learn a love song full of happy things. She said, I wanna learn a love song, won't you let me hear you sing? She said, I wanna learn a love song, I wanna hear you play. She said, I wanna learn a love song before you go away. Well, I guess you know what happened. God, I never been so clean. Yes, I feel like I'm working in a Hollywood movie or living out a good bad dream. And all them pin-up girls in that tinsel world never touched me like she can. It took another man's wife in the real world life to make this boy a man. She said, I wanna learn a love song full of happy things. She said, I wanna learn a love song, won't you let me hear you sing? She said, I wanna learn a love song, I wanna hear you play. She said, I wanna learn a love song before you go away. I guess you know I stayed. It was an early morning ballroom, and the place just opened up, and a little man come in so fast and started at his cups. And the broad who served the whiskey, she was a big old friendly girl, and she tried to fight her empty nights by smiling at the world. And she said, hey bub, it's been a while since you've been around. Where the hell you been hiding, and why you look so down? But the little man just sat there like he'd never heard a sound. The waitress, she gave out a cough, and acting not the least put off, she spoke once again. She said, I don't wanna bother you, consider it's understood. I know I'm not no beauty queen, but I sure can listen good. And the little man took his drink in his hand and he raised it to his lips. He took a couple of sips and he told the waitress this story. I am the midnight watchman down at Miller's Tool and Die, and I watch the metal rusting, and I watch that time go by. A week ago at the diner, I stopped to get a bite, and this here lovely lady, she sat 2 seats from my right. And Lord, 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 she was alright. Oh, she was so damn beautiful that she'd warm a winter frost. but she was long past lonely and well nigh on the lost. Now I'm not much of a mover or a pick-em-up easy guy, but I decided to glide on over and give her one good try. And Lord, 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 she was worth a try. Tongue-tied like the schoolboy, I stammered out some words, but it did not really matter much, 'cause I don't think she heard. She just looked clear on through me to a space back in my head, and it chained me into silence as quietly she said, "If you want me to come with you, then that's all right with me, 'cause I know I'm going nowhere, and anywhere's a better place to be." Anywhere's a better place to be. I drove her to my boarding house and I took her up to my room, and I went to turn on the only light to brighten up the gloom. But she said, "Please leave the light off." "Oh, I don't mind the dark." And as her clothes all tumbled round her, I could hear my heart. The moonlight shone upon her as she lay back in my bed. It was the kind of scene I only had imagined in my head. I just could not believe it, to think that she was real. And as I tried to tell her, she said, "Shh, I know just how you feel. And if you want to come here with me, then that's all right with me. 'Cause I've been oh so lonely, loving someone is a better way to be." Anywhere's a better place to be. The morning comes so swiftly, but I held her in my arms when she slept like a baby, snug and safe from harm. I did not want to share her with the world or break the mood, so before she woke I went out and brought us both some food. I come back with my paper bag to find that she was gone. She'd left a 6-word letter saying it's time that I moved on. The waitress took a bar rag and she wiped it across her eyes, and as she spoke her voice came out as something like a sigh. She said, "I wish that I was beautiful, or that you were halfway blind, and I wish I weren't so doggone fat. I wish that you were mine, and I wish that you'd come with me when I leave for home, for we both know all about loneliness and living all alone." And the little man looked at the empty glass in his hand, and he smiled a crooked grin. He said, I guess I'm out of gin, and I know we both have been so lonely. And if you want me to come with you, then that's alright with me, 'cause I know I'm going nowhere, and anywhere's a better place to be.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And hope you're doing well. And we thought we would punch up and give you a view this Friday. And the pullback continues, started just a couple of days ago, and she continues. Let's just take a look at swing, and let's see what we have. Let's just go here. And we look first at the VIX, the 5-minute VIX. The 5-minute VIX went long. How accurate is the quote, "He travels the fastest who travels alone"? I don't know about that one. I have to think about that. That's pretty deep for a Friday morning. He travels the fastest who travels alone. And let's get this on here. And oops, the ES went short at what time? 8:40. So that actually led. That position, you'd be up 1750. The NQ, 825, you're up 5,000. Congratulations. The Dow, the stayed Dow, which is what we're on. Now, this is on an intraday basis. We went short on Monday evening, which we've been telling everybody all week, and why we did it and where we did it. And that'll be coming off today. And then the Russell, they're getting out of the risk assets here. And gold is doing its thing here as well. And Bitcoin is also coming in on an intraday basis. If you have any questions about who we are, what we're about, we invite you to visit the site. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Happy to plug in any stocks. We're showing, back a few days ago at the beginning of the week, we showed you the options club selector. Do you remember this? And do you remember when we hit euphoria? Do you remember the stack of trades? There was just a ton of them. Our members are on them. Even last night, this is the big one, Adobe was generating, before yesterday's close, a put debit spread. That thing gaps down 25 bucks this morning. That would have worked out. But we had a ton of them. Now they're lining up on the other side. They're starting to stack up. We're traders. The chart, a little difficult to see. We mapped this out. We had the little pullback. Here is the breakout point. We're under it. And this advance since the election, the 50% retracement is on the S&P is 58.88. And we're probably going to go there. But we're going to get a bounce. And we're going to close our trade on any hint of that bounce because we are traders and we've had a very fine week. Very, very fine. Not many trades. We're running a profit factor in excess of 10. And actually, it's quite high. And we're very happy with that. Hope you've had a good week. Let me know if there's anything else I can answer for you. I'm sorry. I was chatting, but I had no microphone on. I was just saying that we, I don't know if you could see all that. We had explained how and why we went into the Dow on Monday, but we're now looking to ring the cash register, right? We've come back on the daily to the mean. And we're not trying to pick, the very top or the very bottom for the next 2 to 3 months. That isn't our time scale. We're not trying to do that. We know we're foregoing that because we know we're going to get a ton of trades in between that'll give us ample opportunity to make really good money. Now, if you happen to hit the very high and the very low, for one of the something like that, and it turns out to be the case, yes, you'll do very, very well. But we will also do very well. We may not make as much as you if you hit one of those, but we will make money and we will do what we'll distribute our risk. So that's where we're at. If I see the 1 minute, and I am starting to see it now, so we're getting ready to ring the cash register on this trade and win here. Very, very close. And it's probably going to continue, but we're not going to be greedy. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I wanted it to be at an even 35, but we're out. Our trade is over, and we're in for the week at $5,000. We have a profit factor close to 20, meaning we made $20 for every dollar we expended. Once again, if anybody has any questions and or wants us to plug in, oh, what is your criteria for determining range bound or trending market? Well, that's, um, there's dozens of ways, and it really depends on what you're looking at, right? So that's number one. Are you looking at a time-based chart? Um, what interval are you looking at? Are you looking at a point and figure chart? Are you looking at a classic Rinko, a custom Rinko? Are you looking at a line break chart, range bar, a tick chart? What size? So that really is it's a very good question. And if you ask somebody, is something trending and you don't qualify them or they don't explain to you what it is they're looking at, you could be looking at one thing and them looking at another. Chances are that is the case, and things aren't going to line up, and or they just may have no clue. So when you're looking at Swing Machine is a is our proprietary tool running on TradeStation's proprietary um, um, feature called Radar Screen. They're the only company that has it. It is a dynamic ticker. You might think of it as a digital ticker. So we don't have the time to fully in service this, but it is a trend identification. So we happen to set it up on a 135 intraday. Now you could set it up, and members may set it up differently. But let's just pick on the Russell here, for instance. The 1 minute trend is short. It's been trending for 82 minutes. That's what that means. Now, just take that alone, just the 1 minute. But you're getting trend information over here, and you're getting a hint that there could be a little bit of a trend change. And you see the little buying. This little ball flight is very, very sensitive, and it's beginning to hint that you might see a little trend change. Please don't trade any of this, right? Because I'm not giving you that. So that is if you're looking at trading just the 1 minute totally alone. But we like to trade the at least initially we like to teach folks to trade the 1 minute in relation to the five based on what the 5 minute is doing. So that you try to get yourself into a trend, into a more significant trend, as opposed to something that is just a chop or just going sideways. But the markets, they're either trending up or trending down, or they are going sideways. And this is on just about any interval. And the rub of it is 70% of the time, it is in fact sideways. That's one of the reasons why we like to trade intraday, because this sort of action, this pullback the last few days is beautiful for us. But for the person who got all excited last week because of the election and came in and bought the highs and bought the hype, and it's a new trend and it's going to stay in place and it's never coming back, they now have indigestion big time. Does that make sense? So, but that's what we spend, you know, 3+ weeks trying to teach and try to identify. It's really important that you know before you put the trade on. Are you in fact going after the trend? Is it a counter trend? The trade that we just took off was a counter trend. Also, do you anticipate the ES returning to 3000s? Well, I mean, um, you know, I just don't want to I mean, you know, I want to be careful. You know, once again, depending on what you're looking at, but let me show you something that is going to kind of take everybody's breath away. Um, maybe. So I'll answer it because I don't like when people, I ask them a question and they waver, and I don't want to waver, but and I could throw a number out there, but it'd be easier if I show you. So let me give you an idea, and then you tell me. So I'm going to erase these brackets. I'm going to go to a chart. I'm going to go to a blank chart here and create a blank one and see if I can do this. And where's my chart? Let me see if I can get a chart up here. Okay. So and you asked specifically about the ES contract. So I'm going to put on the continuous at ES. And we're going to put this on what we call a 3-line break chart. And we're going to go back. We're going to put this on so that's a big number, right? If the market was to come back to 3,000, that isn't going to happen in a day, can't even happen, but it can happen on a monthly basis. So we're going to put this on monthly, and that's going to put us back 20 years. And we can even go back, let's go back 30 years. That includes the .com. And so this is a monthly chart of the S&P going back 30 years. This crash here is the .com crash. This is the mother of all crashes in 2008. I mean, that was wow. Wasn't that awful? And then this is when the central banks got together with the Marxists and said, you know what? If we print money, we can be rich forever. Basically, it started buying bonds, right? So this is the launch of QE, QE1, QE2, QE3. This is QE4, then Operation Twist. This was COVID, and this is where we are. Straight up, totally manufactured. Totally manufactured. Fundamentally, fundamentally any valuation metric, we are so many times more richer than we were here or here, and it's just money chasing money. Warren Buffett has a metric that if you take all the market capitalization of all the markets and divide it by the GDP or one or the other, I think it's, I'm not sure which is the numerator, which is the denominator, but you can Google it. And if it's below 100, he considers the market undervalued. If it's over 100, he considers the market overvalued. At the .com, it was 150. Here, I think it was also like 130, 140. Here, we're over 230. It is so obscene. So, do I think the market's going to go back to 3,000? It's always a question of when, because if you put on a short trade on any previous point, even last month, you're getting killed. So you can have a fundamental, look that the market is overvalued. But that doesn't mean that you should go, bet on it or short on it. This is in fact the reason why Susan and I are not invested in much of anything other than real property. But where might this go? So we'll just come to the Fibonacci's. Let's just do this as an example. And by the way, swing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Usually on any time frame, on any chart, you get to a count of 6 swings. Usually there's a big comeuppance. So where is that comeuppance? So let's go to Fibonacci retracement. And let's capture the obvious low. This is back in 2008, that 2009. And we go up to where we are today. And what do we know? Most runs will pull back. Most runs will pull back 50%. Most runs. Bitcoin did it, but most runs will pull back 50. Where is 50? Right here. Let's blow it up so you can see it. Try to here. Oops. All right. Try that again. Huh. Why isn't it giving me my edit button? Should give it a minute. Well, that price is 34.01. 34.01. We could come all the way back to 2800. Do I think it's going to do it? Yeah, I do. The other thing is what the psychology of the bubble is we will pull back. And the way this will unfold, and I'm not saying it's going to unfold from here, so don't go short in the market based on this, but the way that it will unfold, and we have the tool set so that we'll have plenty of opportunity, but the way it will look is this. So we do this number, and what'll happen is we'll get a turn down. And what'll happen is people will begin to say, that's it. That's it. Similar to maybe here, even on COVID. The bubble, it's a bubble. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. Everything will start coming out. And these people will be saying, no, it's just a dip. Then you're going to have people that never got involved in the market, right? And what it'll do is they'll get involved here, and then we'll swing back. And this is over months. This is a monthly view, but this is normally how it would look. And it'll swing back. And then the noise really picks up. You have people saying, no, 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 we're going higher, we're going higher. And that's the end of the bubble. And then usually at this point, then it'll roll. And then they're in really denial. And then it does one of these numbers. And it happens so fast, so quick that they'll just be stunned. And it traps these people. And then it even begins to trap. And then we do one of these. And then what happens is it will be probably at about 50% of that move, at about 3,400. And then you might have Donald Trump, I'm sorry to say, and his band of group coming out, and well, we need to do this and we need to do that. And we very well may get another bounce. We might, and she may come back up. And they'll say, oh, that's it, it's over, it's over, it's over, and we may, and these are big numbers, so we may be bouncing up to 4,000, 4,500. I mean, we'll be trading our asses off. I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. But then if it really is the end of the bubble, she'll roll again, and then she pukes. And they panic because, see, I've been involved in the markets. I'm a boomer, so I know what this was like. I have experience with this. I have experience with this. I can go back. I have experience with 87. I mean, the market fell 22% in a day. I know what that is. I know what that looks like. I know what that can do to our accounts and to our wealth. You have here, you have not just retail people, forget about the retail people. You have money managers that are, 30 years old, 35 years old, that went to Princeton or God knows where, and they're managing your money, and they haven't experienced any of that. They only know what the banks and their bosses have told them, which is nothing. which is a lie, you know. So, and none of these people, none of the retail crowd, none of the money managers, none of them, I don't want to say none of them, most of them have no experience and understand what this is. You know? So, do I think we're going back to 3,400? Yeah, I think we'll blow through it ultimately. I think you're looking, this is the this is the biggest bubble. Um, I just can't explain more clearly than here. This is the biggest bubble anyone's ever seen. It is the mother of all bubbles. It's Moab. Um, but you can't tell. We don't talk about it much because, um, I don't want to be one of those folks that, the clickbait, we're crashing tomorrow, we're crashing tomorrow. It's a bubble, it's a bubble, it's a bubble. It's timing. And this is a monthly view. And so it's not what we do, but we're traders, we're trading, we traded this week very well. We'll trade next week very well, maybe better, maybe a little less, so we'll be trading the whole time. And there will be a time to get invested again, but it could be years from now. I don't know if folks understand, but from 1966, now I was a kid there, I wasn't trading, but um, from 1966 to 1981, 16 years, the markets, the S&P went sideways. It ended where it started. So if you had invested in 1966 and you were 50 years old in 1981, you were now in your 80s and your portfolio went no place. The only people who made money were the traders. Could we be setting up for something like that? We could be. We could be, and a whole lot of feints in between. So the other part is, is the market a bubble? Is it going to go? It really doesn't matter if you're not participating. And if you're sitting out thinking, oh, I'm going to wait until it crashes, then I'm going to get in. You're not going to get in. No, you're not. You're going to be so spooked if you don't have any trading experience. You will be so spooked by the media and everything going on, you won't want to go near it. And you probably shouldn't, because things can get a hell of a lot cheaper. Fear is a much greater motivator than greed. So again, this is the dot-com crash. This is the '08 crash, and this is where we are up here. But we could still have a few more months of this, right? I mean, we could, I don't know, maybe we're going to 10,000. It really, and that's why it doesn't really matter to us as traders. And I don't mean to aggravate anybody. Some people get really aggravated with that, and it pisses them off because they're vested in their IRAs and their 401ks to see the market keep going. But you've got to remember what's underpinning all this. What is underpinning in it? Well, we got 70 million people that voted for Harris. We got 75 million people that voted for Trump. They're all in this. They're all in this. So half of them are wrong, and I won't go there, but half of them, they might all be wrong. These are the same people that paint their faces, blue and purple, and are at in a 100,000 of them are in an NFL game on, in the stadium when it's 20 degrees out and they're drinking beers and pulling their shirts up. They're in the market with you, and you're making a decision based on what they're doing. Good luck. Good luck with that. So that is the broad picture, right? That is the broad. But so broad question, yes. Do I think we'll go through 3,000 because they haven't been tested. They'll puke. They'll puke. And everyone's got a puke number. Do you know what yours is? A lot of people, they don't even want to think about it. They don't even want to think about how much money they're going to make. They don't want to think about how much money they're going to lose. And you need to consider both. But that's and this is the S&P. The Nasdaq is even worse. So um, anywho, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and there's reasons for this, right? They have set this up. I just I just want you to know, and we said this. Trying to back this up here. Um, I think that this thing will unwind, probably next year. Begin to unwind. It was always the question, though, that who is going to explain to the people what happened? Now, I always thought that a Trump administration might be better, but maybe not. Maybe not. Um, I can't imagine. I don't think we had much, a whole lot of choice in that. And it really doesn't even matter whether it will be Trump or Harris either, because it's the institutions that have lied. It's the institutions that have created this. Namely, what is the biggest institution? It's not even an institution. It's a private concern. It's the Federal Reserve. It's a central bank. And they're thieves. And they're liars. And they're absolutely academic. Most of them, Powell isn't, but they're academic stooges. They're thieves. And they have created this. Now, the person who when we had this and the central bank stepped in with the liquidity was Greenspan. And when we had this, we were going from the Greenspan era to Jerome Powell. Well, Jerome Powell launched QE, but he only served one term. That's always bothered me because no one asked him, or no one's asked him since, or no one has even speculated. Why did that son of a bitch only serve one term? He was there for 4 years and he left. Why didn't he stick around? What did he know? It kind of bothered me. I kind of thought that he knew what he was doing. He said it so much as what he was doing was immoral. It was, it was enriching the people who had caused the crash. It was, creating a moral hazard. He said it. So I kind of felt as though he resigned because he only meant to do this to stem and to keep the market from crashing from here to going to the whole thing melting down. That's what I kind of thought, that he got out of the way. And then of course they, put in Yellen, who's a stooge, a true academic stooge, and then Powell and these people, they're just doing the bidding of the banks, the big private banks and DC. And they've done this. Now, it is interesting. um, it's kind of funny. I went back. I have a video. I did a search on my own YouTube channel of Trump. What was my first video on Trump? And I did a video in 2015 that suggested that if Trump won, he would end the Federal Reserve. He didn't do it. I mean, he didn't do it in the first thing, and he's probably not going to do it here. I think he probably should. Andrew Jackson did, and get back to, real money. But boy, there would be, you talk about, I mean, it would just be, like you wouldn't, the volatility would just be off the charts. Excuse the pun, which would be great, right? I would love it. But this is what they've done, and we can go through all the steps. It wasn't just QE. It wasn't just buying the bonds. It was a lot of stuff that they did to create this bubble. And it is a bubble. but you can't tell anybody it's a bubble that's in a bubble because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to hear it. And that's okay. That's totally all right. Good luck. You know, they'll be crying, but so it doesn't much matter. But these are the people. And by the way, the Federal Reserve, it's kind of interesting. When we were puking out, they had a meeting in Chicago and they called in who? People like Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey, all the swells, all the people that we now know are so stand-up people, right? You heard about how Oprah Winfrey, took in first they said $1 million to speak on behalf of Harris. And then she denies it, says, no, I didn't get $1 million, not personally. But then she had to come clean because the campaign, it's public information. Yeah, we paid her $1 million. And then she says, oh, well, I had to use it to set up the set. Yeah, okay. I mean, how many of these people, charge the guest to set up the set? I mean, how many millions did she make from the advertisements and all the other stuff? What a crock. But these are the people that the Federal Reserve was out to protect because they were scared shitless. She thought maybe in here that she was going to have to sell her home in Montecito and Tom Hanks and Spielberg and the rest of them, the rest of the swells. They were enjoying the largesse. So when they launched this, that saved their ass. If they take that apart, those people, it's going to be really, really difficult to maintain those homes in Montecito and in Hawaii and on Martha's Vineyard, and the others, especially when you don't have, Obama any political influence to peddle. Watch their homes go up for sale. You'll know. It won't be long. It'll be months. They'll be, well, we're downsizing. Yeah, there'll be a lot of downsizing. But that's what this was. It was a bubble and it enriched. Now, this one here, this is COVID, and they did the QE again. But what they did here is they sent the checks then to the small fry, to all of us. And we said thank you very much, and we took the checks. And then on top of it, they also sent everybody home and said, hey, on top of it, you don't even have to work. And what did that do? Well, that juiced the assets again, but it also created inflation. So here we are. We're up here. And booyah, booyah, booyah. The market is ebullient that the election is over and Trump's rolling in and he's doing everything, and I get it, and it does feel good, at least from my political view, but it's going to be interesting. But anyone who thinks that this is going to be smooth sailing and we're going straight up is painting their face on Sundays. That isn't happening. And it's probably going to be, and we said this before, and we did say, that there would be a relief rally, but beware the Ides of March of next year. March 5th in particular. Write it down. Write it down. Mark this video. And reach out to me on March 5th of next year. If we're higher from here, well, I don't know. I wouldn't want that bet. I don't know what it is about March. And markets have a tendency to either, well, the dot-com that fell 90%. This doesn't look like much, but the Nasdaq fell 90% from its high. 90. It went from 5,100 to 900. And it started on March 5th. That's when it started. The 2008 debacle ended when? March 5th. That's when it started or ended. This one, this feels to me, looks actually, it looks like 1999. This was 1999. And what happened in 1999 we most certainly knew. I can only describe this, right? But we lived this. I'm just describing to you. I lived this. You know, we weren't doing stock market caddy, but at that time, but we were living it. I knew it to be a bubble. I knew it. And we were getting out, and I was trying to short the market. You couldn't even short it. And what happened was in August of 1999, the market turned down. We were getting out that spring, that summer. And I said to Susie, I said, this is it. It's go in. And so I wanted to be short. I wasn't short because it was hard to do. And I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, and probably just as well. But we were mostly out of harm's way, in the 90% range. Kept a little, but not everything. And the market turned down. I'm like, this is it. This is it. And we turned down, and then in late September, it turned back up, and it started to run again. And I'm like, damn, what is this? And what it was, what I didn't know, didn't understand, was there was all this speculation that all the computers around the world were going to crash because of Y2K, which I knew about. And evidently, I did not know. I don't know if they told anybody. The Federal Reserve had come in and they were doing a whole lot of quantitative easing then to alleviate any concerns of liquidity as we rolled over into the new year. Now think about this, what they do, right? I mean, do you think maybe there was a whole lot of liquidity added trying to keep some power people in play? But so that's what happened. So when January rolled out and then February, the markets were like right back and were running, not at the highs, but running again. I'm like, son of a bitch, Susie, I think maybe we missed. I began to doubt it. I'm like, Now I didn't get back in. I waited. I said, we're going to wait. We're going to be real patient here. And then on March 5th, the market started to turn down. I'm like, okay. But I was a little suspect. I'm like, you know what? Is this going to be a dip to be bought? And all of that. And then it turned down and it went down and it went down and it went down and it went down and down and down and down. And it just never got a bid. I mean, it went straight down 9 months. It was breathtaking. Stocks that had been selling at $300 a share went to $2. $2. And if you average down and were buying the dips, you would have got killed. So if you're thinking that, when this thing rolls down, you're going to go buy the dip, you might get killed. You might have sat it all out and then get killed, as it really unwinds. And so this is like I hate to use the hurricane example these days, but it's a Cat 5. It's a Cat 5 bubble. It's massive. And it's going to be a shame that it's going to probably break on Trump's watch. And they've left him a shit sandwich, it's like a rep who's leaving a company. You got to fire a rep, and he leaves you a shit sandwich. He doesn't go to work for 6 months. Or he was cooking the books himself. And I think we're going to have some of that. So, any case, it's breathtaking to look at to me. I think and this is a beautiful way to see it, is the 3-line break chart on a monthly. You can do it with Bitcoin, you can do it, but the psychology, there is a psychology. There's a great book. It's an old book, and I was reading the book in 1999. It was called The Madness of Crowds. It was written in the 1930s. And if you haven't read it, read it. And it just feels like to me to be a redo. And and the people just haven't been tested. I gotta erase some of these markers here. Any case, erase that one. We'll put us back. Go back and look at so here, but this is the Renko is just, here we are now. So I would expect this thing the stall here, probably get a little bit of a bounce early next week. And then the question is, are we going go back up? You sometimes mention dismissively about universities and academics. What makes this so? Um, Zegrid is a deep thinker. Um, and that's also another big question. Well, I'm not out to change anyone's view of anything. And then if you're a college professor, I'm not trying to impugn you. But um, I did go to university um, when maybe in the day when they were a little bit more real than they are now. And I'm dismissive of the academics because they lack, in my view, real world experience in just about everything they do. Not everything, but just about. So you take like economics. I don't want to take anything away from anybody. If you have a degree in economics, I'm not trying to impugn you or anything, but you have to understand that prior to 1945, if you went to college and university, there was no degree in economics really. From what I understand. I mean, that to me, economics is a pseudoscience. It's a fake science. It's a junk science. It's and the universities have a way of doing this. They will take a subject like the other one is criminal justice, science. Yeah. Really? Seriously? I don't think so. Um, so I see the universities, particularly here in the States, as the madrasas of the left. They're, even when I went, they were Marxists, self-avowed Marxists. They weren't just left wing, they were Marxists. But they were actually, some of them were actually very good. They'd actually you could actually debate them, you could actually oppose them, and they would give you a fair grade and you could challenge. Today you can't do that. You know, they'll boot your ass out, they'll kick you out, or give you a bad grade. Um, but I'm dismissive of the academics because I think they just lack real world experience. And so just my 2 cents. And the central bank, the Federal Reserve, is all your central banks. They're not elected, and they're at least our central bank is it's a private. It's the titular head of a banking cartel of the New York banks that are as corrupt as the day is long, and they're corrupt with DC. And this notion that they're there to protect the stable dollar, control inflation, and or unemployment is a canard. It's, they have a way of, DC and our governments have a way of um, instituting policies and programs, and they name them just the opposite of what it is they're going to do, right? It's, this is, whatever it is. So the central bank, there's really no reason for us to have a central bank, but there isn't. But it's and I just kind of digress a little bit. I mean, I always thought that a person, Elon Musk might be the exception to this, but I always thought that a person who had reached hundreds of millions or billions and was an entrepreneur would be a true capitalist. They're not. They become monopolists. They don't want competition. And so, and they use these institutions and the academics, why I call them academic stooges. I'm coming from, I spent 25 years of my life teaching surgeons how to do surgery, right? And I can tell you for a fact that the academics that were in the medical, there are doctors at the universities teaching this and teaching that. They had their hand out constantly to get their income juiced. And they looked for, for companies to spiff them. And it was an incestuous relationship. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it when I was there, and I don't like it today. And the same thing goes on with the banking. So when you see an academic like Jeremy Siegel at Wharton come out and start talking about the Federal Reserve and the banks and this company and that company, you have to understand that probably a big part of his income is derived from, writing this paper, that paper, or speaking at this function or that function, where they invite, their academic stooges to come in to some, conference, and he gets to stay at a nice hotel. He gets the shrimp and the food, and then they kiss his ass, and he gets up there to deliver some academic speech, and he gets paid a bunch of money and out the door. That's what I have contempt for. And it happens with all of them. And it happens even on the medical side. They pay these professors at the universities. Um, some of them get on the speaking tour. Some of them have even closer relationships, and then others get paid, for delivering a white paper. The company say, we want a paper for this or a paper for that. Some of the companies pay for their secretaries, to do a research study on some obscure aspect of, it's got something to do with the product. It's a shakedown. So, and I don't think universities, that's such a great question. I don't think, that we should be saddling young people with 200, 300, $400,000 debt for some of these degrees. Probably most of the degrees, quite frankly. I think it's gross. Gross. I mean, I had a good education, but it was bought and paid for when I left. So, in any case, I'm very and one of the professors I had, he was very, very good, right? Gave me great grades. He was a Marxist and fought him tooth and nail. And when I first sat in his class, I was 17. I couldn't believe the crap that he was saying. I couldn't believe the crap that he was having me read. But you know what? He made me defend my ideas, and I had to write, I had to speak, and he was, from that standpoint, he was very, very good. When I left, he said to me, Don, he goes, you're gonna do well. He said, but I want you to reach out to me when you're older, because I think you're going to find out that the system that you have been espousing, which was, I always talked in terms of the right of the individual rights. And he said, I think you'll be sorely disappointed. So be sure to reach out to me. And when I was in my 40s, we had done very well, and very, very well. And I reached out to him. He didn't want to hear from me. Nothing. I'm like, you were wrong. And I'm a living embodiment of it. I mean, I went to a state university, and I had kids that had gone to Cornell, I say kids, they were older, the best private schools, and they were working for me. Um, I just believe in the right of the individual, an individual achievement, a meritocracy. That's what I love about trading. And with structured, even stock market caddy, I'm not a guru. I'm not going to be giving you individual trades. I'm not trying to change your opinion or your view of the markets or anything. I'm not at all. We're just here to be a catalyst if this is something you want to do. And everyone's free to believe what they want to believe. And we got folks, I'm sure, but we try not to get into it, on the political spectrum that are all over. The one common denominator on the political spectrum is everyone presumably, it isn't so much the dollar, but they want the best for their family and they want the best um, life they can have. And hallelujah to that. I don't like, that's what I don't make it a secret. I'm very contemptuous of Wall Street, more than contemptuous. I think they're thieves. I think it's rigged. I absolutely do. And I've had people say, "Well, if you think it's rigged, why do you do that?" Well, I don't let it upset me. I just, if it's rigged, then let's just stay on the side of the market that's rigged. And we'll make our money. And screw them. And so in another way, stock market caddy, I get a real vicarious thrill out of it. If we're able to reach just a few people and they're able to do and break through that, good. Good. I derive satisfaction from that. So any case. Individual rights. And I think if the markets were left alone, if the markets were really, true, um, we would be in a better place. We would have better governments, we would have better everything. I'm very concerned, and this might be the start of it, that that the other side, that people were saying all year, Don, the market's going to run because it's a presidential election, and the people in power are going to corrupt and the systems and the numbers and everything, and they probably have, they probably do, they probably have, and maybe this is the start of like, okay, we've sucked them all in, and now let's get the hell out. Maybe it is that. I don't know, but we never know. There's always a narrative, and that's why we just track the money flow. Because, it's maybe not the best analogy, but you'll see these plane crashes where the plane, does a belly landing and it's on fire. It's not, totally destroyed. And you see the exit doors, thank goodness, open up, and the plane is smoking from both ends, and people are coming out, and they're carrying, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, they're carrying their shit. I mean, the plane just belly landed, and some of these people took their time to get in the overhead and grab their stuff. That's what they do. They will do it here in the market too, including the people who voted for Trump. They will. So this is, it's almost stock market caddy, swing machine. We had different, we called it swing machine on a theme of golf. I had so many different other ideas of what to call it. It's almost a polygraph. It doesn't lie. The markets lie. Wall Street lies. Madison Avenue, one and the same. They lie. The politicians lie. Both of them, both sides, they lie. The companies lie. I worked for them. Some were very good, but some of them lied. I knew them to be lying. What can you do? You may be working for some of them. I don't have to, I'm not beholden to them. I don't have an HR department. It's great. I don't have any conference calls. I used to have a guy that wanted to have whole conference calls to discuss conference calls. Oh my God. Do you have some of those guys? What an inordinate waste of time. But I don't have any employees. I had, at a very young age, I was traveling from Boston to Philly, and I had, folks that were going into surgery, and it was unbelievable to me sometimes, and all their issues. I mean, I had one young fellow, he was older than me. He was drinking scope on the job. I'm like, what are you doing? Before going in, during the course of the day, he had a bottle of mouthwash, but he was drinking it. He obviously had a drinking problem because he was swallowing it. I'm like, what in the world? My income was dependent on him to do a job, a sober job. Um, Here, my income is my income. So Zigrid asked, and the quote, he travels the fastest who travels alone, right? It's up to you. It's a beautiful way. Stock Market Caddy, but I'm not alone. Stock Market Caddy came about because I didn't like being alone. When we trade the way that we trade, it is lonely. I'm not out and about, and I do like people. I do like, to talk with people, and I do like that. I always have. So in 2011, 2012, I said, Susie, this is kind of lonely. Get over it. Done. We'll take more vacations. Okay. But I could only play so much golf. And I was truly playing. I play a lot of golf, but, I mean, you can only play so much. You can only do so much fishing. And so Stock Market Caddy came about because we felt as though we had turned a corner. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And I like people. And I thought maybe we can help others, help them turn a corner. And that's where it came about. So, any case, big questions there from Zagreb. Where are you from, Zagreb? I think you might be from Europe. Maybe in the name, maybe not. From Switzerland, maybe. Let me know. Can I try your system? Um, yes. Um, but we don't have a trial per se. If you go to the website, you'll get an explanation of who we are, what we're about. This is what we do, and why, right? We have a first thing is when you say try your system, you're looking at just one tool, one radar. And yes, you're looking at some big fat trades today. 840, 2,200 bucks, 825, 6,000, 955, 800, 935, 900. So you're seeing that. You even see the Bitcoin on the daily. But this is just one tool. And embedded in this one tool, there are a number of ways to trade this. Different intervals. There's a number of ways. So we have over or close to 70 other tools to use. So when you say, can I try your system? It's like, which system? Which? Well, I just want to try a system. So the issue may be, maybe not, but the first step of learning something is becoming aware of something you don't know. I don't care what it is. So that's why we do the YouTube sessions. It creates an awareness of what it is we're doing. And so I thank you. I take it as a compliment. You're interested in it. So this is how we structure our membership and why. We have a monthly membership. It's $100 a month. And it shows you, you get some video instruction with that. And you get a video view of all of our algos every night. Now, I don't know everyone that comes in as a monthly member, what level of experience you have. I don't know. And do you know if I said if interest rates are rising or falling, do you know what that does to bonds? Do you know what the bonds can do to the market? Do you know the difference between a limit order and a market order? Do you know the difference between a debit spread and a credit spread in options? Do you know what delta means? I don't know. But maybe you join for a month and you learn some things. Maybe you learn what you don't know, right? And that would be money well spent, right? Because it's the first step of learning something. But it's $100 for a month. If you're not happy, not something you want to do, you're out $100. And it's month to month, right? So we don't ever have like, if you join for a year, you can do it for $8.99. We don't do that. I want it month to month by design. I'm trying to give everyone an opportunity to say, no, I don't want to do this. If you join at that level, which many do, then you may have a decision to say, you know what, I kind of like this approach. And I don't want to be a swing trader, going every few days. I would like to get Swing Machine and all these other tools on my desktop so that I can be making my own decisions and playing my own game. So we will do that. But you have to go through what we call a Q school, which is you have to do it once. It's 3+ weeks. There's a fee for it. And we want to spend, ideally, if we can, 1 to 2 hours with you a day. And we're going to go through a lot of the different programs. And yes, during that time, if you have TradeStation, which we would want you to have, we will send you some of the programs and you're going to get a chance to use them with our instruction and with our availability. If at the end of the Q school, you'll have a great education and you say, hey, that's it. I still don't want to do this. Okay, there's no problem. But if you then say, yes, you know what? I liked it. I now want to become an annual member. Then you pay to be an annual member and then you get all the files and you're off and running. And then you can renew from 1 year to the next and you never have to go through the Q school again. So what we don't do is probably what you want. And that is you want, I shouldn't say that necessarily you, but what people want to do is they want to come in to the Lamborghini store and they want to rent the Lamborghini for $500 or $100 and go for a drive. That it's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it to us. And because you don't know how to drive the Lamborghini and if we were to do that and set it up that way, folks would be crashing, into a pole, into a truck. You got to know how these systems work, how they were built, and it's difficult. And we understand that most people are not going to do that. And that's good because we've had people say like, well, I don't have the time for that Q school. Good. That's fine. They take themselves out. That's good. Because they won't make it. They'll spend many, many multiples, losing money than what Q school costs. Thinking that, that this is an easy endeavor. We think it's relatively easy, but it's an endeavor that, it's an acquired skill set and it takes time. So that's, but the exact cost and so forth is all spelled out on the website, so I won't do it there. But that's why we structure it the way that we do. We're trying to give folks a chance to say, no, this isn't something I want to do. Doesn't work for me, and they will take themselves out. We hope not, but sometimes that happens. Mostly it doesn't. It's been a really good model, and we have folks that have been with us for years. That makes sense? Now we can, let's just go and look here. This was, let me go. We got other tools here as an example. We showed you the option, radar, right? This is where we were getting all the shorts, right? You just have to go back and look at um, go back and look at how many, I mean, there were dozens and dozens of these, Monday and Tuesday. Let me answer this question. So let me go back to where we were. Zigrid, regarding acquiring skill, why can people spend hours attempting to gain it but never obtain it, remain unskilled? Um, well, let's go. There's also very good questions. So, Ingrid, I like your questions. They're very thoughtful. And so I'm going to go to another blank space. And let me do something here. Bear with me. Speaking of, the academics, there are, bear with me, get my drawing tool here. There are 4 stages of learning anything, anything. And I'll put myself in this. I used to see people fly fishing. And I was, when it came to fly fishing, I was unconsciously incompetent. I didn't know what I didn't know. But I had an interest because I saw the pictures and I said, boy, that looks like a lot of fun. That looks like something I would want to do. But I have no idea how to do it. So the first step in learning anything is becoming aware of something you don't know. And then deciding whether or not it's something that you want to learn. So I have a beautiful sister, older sister, give you another example, and she is a quilter, a really, really good quilter. And she loves quilting like I love fly fishing. When it comes to quilting, I am unconsciously incompetent. I don't have any idea how she does it. But something else? I'm aware of that, but I have absolutely no interest in quilting. Therefore, I'm never going to learn it. But when it came to the fly fishing, I did want to learn. So what did I do? I went to a store called Bass Pro Shops, and I walked in, and there was a guy there, and they had fly fishing. They had all kinds of fishing stuff, but he had fly fishing. And I asked the guy, I said, "Are you a fly fisherman?" He goes, "Yes, I am." And I said, "I have an interest in fly fishing. And can you tell me what I would need?" And so he started to talk to me, and he started to walk me around the store. Now, I was a little skeptical because I felt like he was loading me up. Like, okay, you're going to need this fly rod. I'm like, okay, that's obvious. All right, so I get a fly rod. And then you're going to need line. What kind of line? A line that floats. Why? Okay. And then he's saying, you're going to need flies. Okay. Now I'm really getting, like, he's really loading me up with stuff. And then he goes, as an example, and he goes, you're going to need this vest. Now I'm really thinking like he's just doing me right here. He's just running up a tab. He's, I'm his sucker. And I'm like, well, why do I need a vest? I got a tackle box. And he goes, well, that's what I said. I said, why do I need a vest? I got a tackle box. He goes, well, he said, you're going to be in a river and you're going to be fly fishing and you're going to be moving maybe from rock to rock to rock. Well, what are you going to do with the tackle box? You're going to like carry it? You're going to like set it on a rock? And what if it falls off and goes down the river and you got all your flies and all your gear? Oh, he goes, think of the vest as a tackle box, but you're wearing it. I get it. I need a vest. So the point being is I didn't know what I didn't know. So what was happening was I was becoming, at this point, conscious, conscious, consciously incompetent. I'm still incompetent. I have no idea what to do with the rod, but I got it now. I own it and I own the vest, but I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. So then I asked them and he said, if you come back the next weekend after you do all this, and I'll take you out behind the store and show you how to throw the fly. And I did that. And then I went on vacations with Susan, and I can't tell you, for a couple of years, and I never caught any fish. I would go in these rivers and be beautiful, and I never caught any fish. Had all the gear and all the stuff. Never did it. And what happened one day, we were up on the Toccoa River in northern Georgia. Susan's sitting on the bank reading a book, as she usually would do. And I'm not catching anything, but I'm having a good time. It's a beautiful day. Then this other guy comes in and he wades into the river, a couple hundred yards from me, and he's only in the river like for a few minutes, and he catches a trout. I'm like, holy shit. And then he catches another one and another one and another one. And now to the point where I stopped fishing, or what I thought I was fishing, and I'm watching him. And now Susan's watching him. I'm like, damn. And so then I come out of the river and I got my dauber's down. I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't I catch any fish? And I'm feeling sorry for myself, but I'm watching this guy. He's catching trout. He's throwing it back. And Susan's like, well, why don't you go ask him? No, I don't want to bother him. But you got to go ask him. So we sat for the rest of the afternoon for a couple of hours and I kind of stewed about it. And we just watched him catch fish. And I was basically waiting for him to come out. And he came out. And I said, sir, and I introduced myself. I said, do you mind me asking a few questions? I've been fly fishing, at least I thought I've been. And, what were you using? What do I need to do? And he proceeded to show me and tell me what he was using, what he was doing. But he also told me, he said, before you go into any river in any town that you go to, you need to go to the fly shop. And you need to go and talk to the people at the fly shop because they're going to know what the fish are eating from all the other fishermen. And you also might want to invest and spend time with a guide when you first arrive in a town and you're on vacation, you want to be catching trout, and hire a guide because they're worth their weight in gold because they'll be able to show you how to catch fish in the river that you're going to be fishing. A mentor. And it's at that point, and I did that. And guess what? I started to catch fish. And it was that stage that I became consciously competent. But it still was an effort. I still had to think about what I was doing. Um, and maybe even today when it comes to fly fishing, that's probably kind of where I am. But if you are doing it every day and you become consciously competent at something, whether it's fly fishing, whether it's learning to play golf, whether it's learning to play musical instruments, whether it's learning to drive a Lamborghini or fly a plane. In the beginning, some of the things that you learn may feel unnatural, may feel, against what you would think. The pilots call it listening to the inner ear, learning not to listen to the inner ear. And you keep doing it over and over, and you set up. And that's one of the things that we try to set up during the Q School. There's a couple of afternoons or sessions that I'll say to folks, this is the most important step I can teach you. And what I'm trying to set up is the structure in which the person can ultimately realize this unconsciously competence or competent. And what is that? That is the stage in which whatever it is, the thing you're doing, you're just enjoying it, and you don't even have to think about what it is you're doing. You just execute. You just do it. So another example is, when you learn to drive a car, right? When you're a kid, you don't know how to drive a car. You have to go to the driving school. Then, you know, you, you may be consciously incompetent, and then you have to think about what it is you're doing. And you're all excited that you drive in that car. Like I remember when I first had my license and I had done all those steps, and I felt, and what did I do? I rolled the windows down, I turned up the 8-track, and I drive to the beach and look at me, and all the girls, and I got a nice new car. I didn't have a new car, but and I'm all excited about it. Today, later today, I gotta go where I usually gotta go, Lowe's. I live at that store. I'll drive to the car. I'll drive there. Am I gonna be really excited about driving? Am I gonna put the windows down and play not really, right? I don't even think about it. You don't think about it. You're unconsciously competent at driving a car. So when someone comes to us as a monthly member, I don't know where they are. They might be unconsciously incompetent. It's not a slam, but they might be. Or maybe they're just consciously incompetent. But a person needs to recognize honestly where they are. And then they have to try to get here consciously. And this is where the learning starts. And this is where we spend the Q School. So the 3-week Q School that you're doing is we're trying to take you from here to here. We hope that at the end of the 3+ weeks, you'll be consciously competent. You may have to be thinking about the trades, and you may have to be thinking, it is a thinking man's game, but ultimately, we're going to try to get you here. I can't get you here in 3 weeks. In fact, I can't get you here, or I can't get anyone here. Honestly, they have to get themselves there. We think we can get you here. Getting to a place where you are unconsciously competent at trading will be you. But if you don't want to learn, right? You just, want to splash around in the river and, say that you're fly fishing, never catch anything. Or, and the other example that I give, and people do this, we weren't about to do it, you know, go on a Caribbean vacation and, there are people in the pool in the morning and they say, hey, we'll teach you how to dive. And then they go dive in the afternoon. I would never do that. We didn't do that. Um, but if people do that, good luck with that. So people can, the admission to trading, all the brokerages, they'll take your money, they'll take your money and they'll let you buy and sell and buy shit. Um, but that's where it's going to end, probably begin and end, be very expensive. Um, so I hope that makes sense. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you, um, get to a place where, you are skilled, but you're going to have to hone it and you're going to have to work at it. Um, it slows it down, right? We certainly have had people like, you shouldn't be doing that. You would have a lot more members if you didn't do the Q school. Yeah, we probably would, but it would probably be very frustrating even because, there's just, we have two folks that have just, they're still in it on the queue, but um there's, hours of conversation and of pointing out. And what we're trying to do during the Q school is make you aware of some things that you may not just, you're probably just not aware of. It's no fault of your own. And you may be doing something and doing some things that you're hurting yourself on. You may not be that far away. Um, so just in terms of keeping score, too. We talk about that. I won't, bend everyone's ear on that, but I'll ask people, well, how do you keep score? Well, what do you mean? That's ridiculous. I just keep score of the money. Well, if you're keeping score on just the money, then a couple of things wrong with that. You're trading greed and fear, and you will lose. And if you're keeping score on just the money, even if you are making a little bit of money, you don't understand what's working, what isn't working, and what you have to do to improve. You just don't know. It'd be like going to the golf course, and it's fine. People do this and they go to the golf course saying, I shot a 95. Okay, great. But, and then they'll always shoot 95 or 100. But if they really want to get better, say, well, how many fairways did you hit? I have no idea. How many sand saves did you hit? I don't know. How many putts did you make? I don't know. Well, then how the hell do you know what to work on? I mean, maybe you can hit a great tee ball. Maybe you're hitting a bunch of fairways. Maybe you need to spend time in the sand trap and learn how to hit sand shots. Maybe it's the putting green. Maybe you're 3 and 4 putting. Maybe you need to work there. Your trading's the same thing. If you're just buying and selling and buying, and oh man, I made, $500. I lost 800. I lost. You don't even know. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what to work on, right? And it's the same thing. But you're not working for anyone, so everyone can get in. They'll take your money, and the market will take your money. We'll take your money in the market. The market's brutal that way. There's no other endeavor that I know of. Maybe I'd have to think about this, but like if you're working for someone else and you don't get the sale or you don't, achieve whatever it is you achieve, you still get paid. They don't reach in your pocket and take money away. Here in the market, if you know, don't get it right, not only do you not make money, they will take money out of your pocket. It's brutal. It's brutal. And so one of the first things that we want to teach too is learning to trade where you will have losses, but we don't want you to have any negative outliers. None. Zero. Now you're going to have to fight some things. You may have some bad habits. You may have years of bad habits, and it's difficult to overcome those. But we can make you aware empirically too. We use a lot of math and we use a lot of back testing and measuring and be able to show you and have an intellectual. We want you to challenge us too. I mean, I want to have an intellectual discussion even, in the before you join Q school, during Q school, because it's important, because people are going to do what they want to do in the end. They're going to want to do that. So we just want to make you aware, and so there may be certain things that you should be doing. So for instance, like if you talk really fast, walk really fast, play golf really fast, you're just a fast moving person, then you probably want to be running programs that trade very fast. If you are more, just slow, you speak more slowly, you walk more slowly, whatever, you may want things that, are going more slow. And that's going to be different. Everyone's got a different trading personality. Susan's is very different than mine. Very different. In terms of risk, she's very risk averse. I'm not. I have to, I have to guard against, maybe taking on a little bit too much risk, right? And so Susan, I always joke, is my risk manager on certain things. But I do things, I do things intraday whereby that decision's already made, right? So my favorite size is a mini contract one. Now we have a technique for adding, but I'm not in there adding a lot. Could I trade larger? Yes. Do I? No, because I don't need to. So, you know, when you drive the car to Lowe's, could you drive the car 100 miles an hour to Lowe's? Probably could. Is it a good idea? Probably not. All right. Probably not. Makes sense? I hope so. All right. So I'll clear that up. But great question, thoughtful question. And I just wanted to take a time. And if you stop and you think about it, which we've obviously have about all this, I had plenty of time to think about where we started and how we started. This just didn't come out of the ground, right? Like we've been using this for years, decade now, more than. This isn't moving averages and stochastics and MACDs. It isn't, but there is a technique. And now I don't know what the news is today. You might have it, and then maybe one of the Fed governors said something, or maybe something happened. The producers of the fake news, the financial media is the worst purveyors of fake faux news. They're the originators of it. There'll be something out there. I could make something up, you know. And why I say Wall Street and Madison Avenue are one and the same is that they've figured it out, right? If you haven't figured it out, the way people's minds work is you remember stories, right? So it's how my mind works too. We remember stories. That's how we remember shit. It's just the way we work. So Wall Street and Madison Avenue, they will tell you a story to separate you from your money and get money into the market. They're not buying and selling on stories or on narratives. They're narrative tellers, they're storytellers. They're using machines, and they've been using machines to extract the money flow for decades. Who is the most successful investor, trader of all time? Not Warren Buffett, guys. Look it up. Compare the performance of Jim Simons, who recently passed away, to Warren Buffett. Not even close. Who is Jim Simons? You don't hear about him. You'll see him. Google. He's one of the original quants. He was 40 years old. He was an old fart in 1981. Math background, national intelligence background. And guess what? He traded intraday. Intraday. Yep. Google him. You'll hear him talk about it. In fact, he answers one of Ziggurat's questions. Person asked him one time, there's an interview on where he was asked, because I've watched all his interviews years ago. I still watch them. And they asked him, when the market moves into chop, do you turn your machines off? He goes, no. Why not? Because I don't know when they're coming out of chop. That's right. Right. Good questions. I didn't, I sometimes when I pop up, I don't know where for sure I'm going to be going. Conversation. I want to show you what's possible, right? Um, but we're done. We had a good week. I'm not going to do the same thing next week because I don't have the same setup, and we'll go back to our intraday. We'll trade the volatility here. So let's go look at where we think we are. And we know exactly where we are. We're coming right down to this area right in here. Now we may cut right through it. We might. If it does break through the 50%, 618, and comes down that low, then what we'll want to judge is the bounce. And does the bounce take us back up here? Now, the more it comes down, especially if it gets below 50, the likelihood that we go back up to the old high is not likely. It won't, not likely. If we get below 618, then it definitely isn't going back up. It may bounce, and then that'll be the bounce, and we'll wait, and then we'll want to short it again, and that could be the move in the structure, and we get a C point down, that we come back down and take out this area that we couldn't take out in front of the election, but they decide to take it out afterwards. I don't know. Each one of these bricks is $1,000, by the way. Each one of them. Let's go look at the Pebble Beach. What is the Pebble Beach doing? So the Pebble Beach had a great, great day just the other day. It had all these shorts. So let me go show you. Let's go look at it. It's right here. Where are we here? Bear with me. I'll show you. We'll take a look at a few things. Now my guess is that it could be Japan, but because they've already shown us. So here are some more. Look at these, right? So this is a trade generator, Pebble Beach triggers. This is giving us a highly probable trigger setup. So Alta went short today at 380. On a $10,000 trade, you'd be up $233, which is 2.3%. Gives you a stop, was all today. So how many triggers? We take out the label row. How many total triggers are there right now? There are 27, not 28, but 27, and we're profitable in all but, 5 or 6. And this is where we get them. We'll get Microsoft, down $12 today. Let's go click on it. Here it is. So Microsoft went short at 420, right in here, 420. What if you got a put on it? You got 6 points. This is where our members are getting them. So what they're not doing when you say unskilled, what you might be doing is coming into your office and going from screen to screen to screen, looking at this moving average, that moving average, and stochastic. You're looking at all the stuff that they want you to look at, which is not the stuff that we look at. When we come into our office, we have all these radars. We have all these programs that are already predefined with highly probable setups, highly probable formations, highly probable price action. And the machine is presenting these trades. You either take them or you don't take them. You either stay unskilled or you become skilled and become more skilled. These are tools. If you go to Lowe's and you buy yourself a skill saw, Lowe's is a home improvement store for those outside the US. I don't know if they're outside. It can help you cut wood. But just because you buy a skill saw doesn't mean that you have the skill to make yourself a staircase, right? But if you have skill, those tools are invaluable. That's what we're trying to provide, and the education to go with them. You know, let's see. I want to see the interest rates today because I think we got a problem there. That would be I haven't even looked yet. We were looking last night, so we're going to go to the yield curve. Yeah, see, this is a problem. I'm a little, the rates are still rising. 0.45 on the 30-year, 0.29. They're rising. What's the Fed going to do? May not be anything they can do. If the rates keep rising, what's going to happen to the market? Put yourself into it. You're retired in Vero Beach. You got $1 million. You saved $1 million and you're living in a double wide in Vero Beach. If you buy a US Treasury, a 10-year Treasury, and it's yielding 4.4%, that means you're going to get $44,000 a year safely. Or you could put it into the stock market that historically returns 10%. So we could get 100,000, honey. We could, but we could also take a 50% haircut in the stock market and knock our $1 million account down to 500,000. Oh. So suddenly when the Fed back, years ago, going back to that earlier chart, was locking down interest rates, there was what? No other place. Tina, there is no alternative. When interest rates rise, there's alternative for money. There's competition for the money. Also, when interest rates rise on the retail public, the cost of shit, or, I don't want to say the inflation, but the cost to borrow goes up. So they do less borrowing. They might do less spending. They might do less home improvement stuff. Oh. And if they do less, then maybe the companies don't do as much revenue, right? The cost to play. It's a problem. Now the Fed can keep cutting the short-term rate and steepen this, but they may keep going. Let's go look at the yen. Let's go find the yen. So let me go here. I want to find our yen. Here's the sentiment. See, yen is up today, 0.005, but the yen is down here, 0.64. See the dollar. Let's see with the dollar was in euphoria. The dollar's coming in. Yen is bouncing. Euro is also bouncing. These other countries also have central banks, and they don't want to inherit all that inflation. Uh-oh. They might start to defend their currencies. They may not like Trump. Hmm, who knows? Let me show you something else that you can do with Swing Machine, which when I think about it, we showed everybody this yesterday. I'm going to show again. This is what you can do, right? So this is one of those things where, especially if we have folks in Europe here, and I think we might. So let's go here. I'm going to change this to the dollar. It's going to be a delayed quote, but we're going to put it on a daily, so it's not going to be that. It's not going to make a big deal. I'm going to put this on a daily. That's the dollar futures contract. It went long 30 days ago. 30 days ago, you could have gone long a dollar futures contract at 102.30 on October 7th, and you would have almost doubled your money. A double. Forget about Bitcoin. You haven't doubled it. You're up a nice amount, but you could have taken about $2,000 and you would have doubled your money. Maybe even more than that, right? You'd have 4,000, 200% return. But if you're not sure, you're like, well, I don't know. I don't know if the dollar is going down or going up, excuse me. Well, let's put the euro in. And we're going to change that also to a daily, right? We're not going to intraday trade these. We're going to daily trade it. 31 days ago, the euro went short. And that's up 4% between it shorted at 110 on the 4th. It's a few days before. There must have been a weekend in there. So 30 to 31 days ago, if you had gone long the dollar, which uses about $2,000 a margin, and you had gone short the euro, which uses about 3,500, a $5,000 margin trade, and you're up 10 grand. What? Yep. And it's still working. But if you're just doing the same old shit, you will remain unskilled. If you just keep doing the same old, coming in and looking at a 50-day moving average and a 10-day moving average on the dollar or the euro or the stochastics, and, then you will keep doing it. You will remain unskilled. But I mean, if you have these tools and you know how to use them, I mean, you really have to go out of your way. I mean, there's no reason to be shorting the US dollar. There is no reason to be long the euro right now. But if you want to just do it because you just want to do it, then yeah, you will, it will cost you. But this is the sort of flexibility and the kind of tools. Now, we can do a lot of this, not just mechanically, but we can do it robotically. We can get the machine to send. And so one of the other knocks that, not a knock, but, folks, I'm going to put this back, ESZ. We'll have folks say, well, I had one gentleman, and it's okay. I mean, he wrote to us we'll get this occasionally. And he said, or they'll say, like, why do you do those YouTube sessions? You don't give us any trades, which is not exactly true. I don't personally, but the machine does, or the machines. You don't give us any trades. You don't manage our money, and you don't make any claims. Why the hell should I follow you? Which is exactly the response we want to get from that person, because we don't want to waste our time, right? They move on, and that's good. The other one is, I belong to a service and they send me alerts, and I want alerts. Well, we don't do alerts. We choose not to do it. Why? I would rather show you as an annual member how you can build your own alerts. You can build your own alerts. you have these tools on your desktop. You want to know when that 5 minute went off? You wanted to know at 8:40 that that thing was going short and you didn't want to be sitting at your computer? Well, then you can set an alert and have TradeStation will send you an email from which you can have it send a text to your phone. So now you do get alerts. But what's better is you set the alerts. You define the alerts. You know what they're doing. Maybe you want alerts from, the Pebble Beach on stocks. So I'm not going to just build, an alert based on one thing and then charge people. I was like, no, we'll provide everything and then you can build multiple alerts. I don't particularly use a lot of alerts, but Susan does. And we have other members that do too. Very, very powerful. But it takes time, right? It, you know, um, and you want to catch fish as you learn, right? You do want to catch some fish, right? As you go. But you'll be doing this the rest of your life, hopefully. Okay. And Scott may even be here. And I've been thinking of Scott and Darian all week. And guys are out there. This is crazy. Um, I don't know. I want to make sure that I maintain his privacy. So let me take a look at this. Um, Scott is in Q school, and so is Darian, and we've already completed the one-on-one sessions, and they are now trading. His weekly his weekly numbers, if I'm looking at his scorecard, um, let me make sure. I think, yeah, that's this week. He had 72 trades. This is beautiful, right? What cost? Zigrid out. Look at these big broad. What causes people's irresponsibility? Those are great questions. Um, I'm not a guru, right? Um, you know, it doesn't really matter. One of the things that I think a person needs to learn too is it doesn't matter what other people are doing, thinking, or saying. It really doesn't matter. It only matters what you do, right? So I always learned that as a kid, right? My dad was a Boston policeman, ultimately a Boston police captain. He said, hey, Don, in the same thing, it was like my nose was a little bent out of shape because I wasn't going to, one of the Ivy League schools. He's like, Don, get over it. Get over it. Once you go to school and you get out, the school isn't going to get you, where you want to go. It's going to be what you do with the education. So it's generational. One of the things that I see today with younger people, not all though, not all, right? We got some very mature young people as members. They're not all, and not with our members. I mean, you just can't be. You're not going to be this way. But most of them, they already know all the answers, right? Or they can get the answers, or they fact check the answers, and then they make these hard. They just don't have the critical thinking skills, right? And when I went to the school, I had a benefit. I did have really good education, and I went to a parochial grammar school, and the things they did for us then, it was all critical thinking and critical writing stuff. So I think the irresponsibility is linked to the lowering standards of education. That's what I think. But we could go on and on. Let me just share with you, not that this is going to matter to you personally, but it might be of interest to you. I'm not going to put up his scorecard because um, he's got some other notes here, and I don't want to invade his privacy. So Scott just generated a scorecard. We have a scorecard. Um, he had 72 trades. He had 54 winning trades. He had 18 losses. His win-loss ratio was 75%, which isn't that important to us, but it's very good, and he had to feel very, very good with that. Well, that's crazy. That is crazy. You know what his net was? Well, first thing is, let me tell you what his profit factor was. His profit factor was 4.39, which was very, very good. Scott, I hope you're hearing me. 4.39 means he's making $4.39 for every dollar. So we just spent 3+ weeks together, 1 to 2 hours a day. And you know what his net was for this week? 22,518.58. And he's using, it appears, both TradeStation and Ninja. We don't use Ninja, but I understand it to be a similar program, but they don't have the radar. That's crazy good. I'm going to have to go through that scorecard, Scott. And Darian, we're pulling for you too. I hope you're out there, and I hope you had a good week. That's great stuff. That's really, really good. Now, what happens is when you finish the Q school, I'm rooting for everybody. I want everyone to do really well. And I say this for everyone that's in the Q school and then everyone is a member, but I won't intrude, right? Once you're underway, you're underway. I won't say no to anybody. If anyone's having an issue and they want to reach out to me, I will always respond. But I'm not like sending email like, how'd you do this week? How did you do today? I'm not doing that. Because trading, we don't believe that trading should be, it's a priority here, but family comes first, and the pups and our quality of life. I took time off this week. So you gotta, sometimes you gotta take, time off, and you should. You don't want somebody, bugging you like, how was your trading? How was so we don't do that. Right. It is learn to trade your game. Scott, congratulations. That's an awesome scorecard. Pour in. I'll have to digest. That's great. That's great. That's really, really good. That's great. It was a good week. Excellent. So, but don't concern yourself with other people. Just concern yourself with what you're doing, and then everything else will take care of itself. And if everyone did that, I think, in a meritocracy, and at least here in the States, I mean, it's competitive as shit, right? At least it used to be. It still is. They want to deny it. Some of the academics want to deny it, want to pass fail and stuff. But we competed. When I was in parochial school, I mean, we competed at everything, spelling bees, math bees, right? You had to get up and the goal was to be the last one standing in the class. That's what we did. I mean, that's what I grew up with the nuns. Everything was we competed with everything. And when I went into the surgical arena, they don't do it today though. They don't. When we had to go through our training, they actually literally put us through like a med school. It was extremely competitive, kids. I mean, really, really competitive. They'd post our grades. If you didn't have maintain a certain grade, they'd send you home. You'd have to explain to your boss why the hell you didn't have a grade. It was really, it was stressful, but you gotta like to compete. I find this like really, really, I just love doing this. And so Scott did better than us on the net. But on the profit factor, we did a little better. But that's okay. That's all right. And the question is, though, for you, for those of you that are listening, what do you know what your profit factor was? Do you know what it was last week? Do you know what it was the week before, or 2 months ago, or 3 months ago? Do you know? If you don't, then that's a problem. Then you're going to be stuck in that unskilled environment. Really, really good, Scott. And Darren, again, we're pulling for you. And we'll review your scorecard more closely. If there's any other questions, I'll hang out. It is now, yeah, we said we're going to end at 12. We're probably going to end at 1. And but I'm happy to try to answer any last minute questions. I hope you had a good week. Let me just, I'm curious what the headlines are. Not that it matters, right? So I'll just go to Zero Hedge or someplace that would usually have something, right? Um, Let me go here. Is there anything? No, I don't see anything in particular. Maybe you guys do, but they'll find something, they'll find something. And it would be normal now, right? I just want to come back to the Rinko, look where we are. We're sitting right on the 50% retracement. So this would be normal. It would be normal. The thing I'd be rooting for, but it's going to do what it's going to do. I'm not going to buy it here. We did close our short, but if next week we can bounce up into here, then that could, present the opportunity for a C point down. The next C point down will be a juicy one. We want one of these red dots. So that's where we be. What a beautiful day, huh? Isn't that awesome? You can be in a bullish state or bullish phase and have, real bad days or sell-offs. You can be in a bearish phase and have vicious rallies. In fact, most of the time that's the case. How do I determine many sources of misinformation in the age of it? How do I determine credible sources? Um, well, again, broad subject. I don't know, if we're talking about market stuff. So um, we don't, we'll keep it on the market, right? So I won't go political on it. But I think, as far as the general thing, I think, if you're looking, I think over time, if you're if person's a critical thinker, you begin to know what sources are bad and what sources aren't. Like, CNBC here in the States, the Contrarian News Bubble Channel. I mean, they're ridiculous. It's a joke. MSNBC, CNN, all that shit is just a joke. So I don't even listen to it. Um, but when it comes to the markets, I don't subscribe to anything. Right. So I don't subscribe to the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or the IBD or any of it. I don't subscribe to any of it because we have the tools to track the money flow. So as long as I track the money flow, I don't really need to know why they're selling today. They're selling. If Monday or Tuesday they're buying, then they're buying. You mentioned Zero Head. They are entirely unbeknownst to me. Yeah, and I think you've got to be a little. They have also an agenda of sorts and a little bias. But Zero Hedge, you can find it online. It's anonymous, and their contributors many times are anonymous, and they're mostly focused on market stuff. And a lot of times, some of the stories are coming from internal people at banks and so forth. So I do like to read them, but they are pretty, they're always pretty, a skeptical bunch. So I will kind of look at Zero Hedge around, and it's always around, market. Usually it's around market stuff. So I will kind of look at that. And then of course, I have my Twitter streams, um but I'm never really looking for the reason why the market did anything. I don't really care because it's probably not even right. You know, it does what it does, and I just need to be on that side. Just like we showed you with the dollar and the euro. If 31 days ago you shorted the euro and went long the dollar, you would have doubled your money in 30 days. Why did it do that? I don't know. I mean, but it did it. And it does that routinely. It's a great tool for that, for hedging. We also got to create, maybe a bibliography. There's some great books. I need to do that and add it to the website. So I read a ton, um, and audiobooks. I listen to music and a lot of history. I love history. By the way, if you want one of our scorecards, a blank one, more than happy to send you one. Just send us your email, put it in a request that you'd like one of the scorecards, and we're happy to send it to you. And you can start at least keep track of your profit factor. With that, we want to say thank you for stopping by. Any questions, let us know. You can email us. You can call us from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'll be in the office tomorrow morning. I'm in there every Saturday morning, and don't hesitate. And maybe you'll be writing your own chapter. I will say this is that for better or for worse, you won't look at the markets the same when you're done with Q School. You won't. You won't. Um, and you just want to go piecemeal. We're going to try to lay things out, what we call like a buffet table, but you're going to pick and choose what you want. But at least you know what's on the buffet table, right? It's one thing, to come into the markets and start doing something and and that's all and you just ramming your head against it and it's not working. At least you'll know at the end of Q School, like, well, okay, well, maybe I could do something else. And this is that something else. And you'll know what's available to you. I mean, there's always room for improvement. We're always working on things, but there isn't going to be anything radically available that you don't not aware of. Makes sense? So we're gonna let you watch this out up until about 1 o'clock, and we do wish you the best. We'll be back next week. We'll try to come up middle part of the day next week if we can. We're going to try to do something maybe a little bit different too, showing you, um, maybe some hedging strategies, automated hedging strategies. We will be much more active next week than we were this week, and we explained why we did what we did, and we got to where we wanted to go.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Okay, everyone. Once again, we just want to say thank you for taking time out. And Zigrid, my character must be improved prior to my training. Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't be so hard on yourself. I don't think you need to. I don't think anyone needs to change You're not going to change your personality, right? You don't need to change your personality. Your personality is your personality. Shouldn't let anyone change it. I'm not out to change anyone's personality. I'm not out to change anyone's views or anything. It's not necessary. Um, that is one of the criteria. We talk about controlling the things that you can control, and there are certain things that you can't control. You can't control the market, but there are some things that you can control. And you really can't control your personality at this point. Your personality is your personality, and that's fine. And we're not out to change it, but you can um, work around your personality and your trading personality, right? So you don't, you have to have an intellectual discussion with somebody who's been doing this, with how much margin should I be using? What markets might I be trading? What intervals should I be looking at? What days should I? There's all these different things. And then we can hopefully build you. And by the way, if David's listening, David is in Germany. He's asked us to build into one of our programs an option for days of the week because he wants to backtest the day of the week that might be best to run a particular program. So that's something that we can do, right? And so he knows, and he's been with us for several years, that we have this type of capacity. So when we have these questions, and you'll have these questions, I wonder if I should trade, the euro at 3 in the morning versus, 3 in the afternoon, New York time, that sort of thing. And you can go into the market and ask historically and get answers to those questions. So we're very empirical. We're very mathematical. We're not, super, super rigid. I don't know, maybe it does appear rigid, but I don't think so. I'm reading, Scott's, I got to maintain his privacy here, but, you know, um, this is what he wrote on one of the last lines on the scorecard. Wow. Wow. Big. The sell-off continued into today, Don. I was up big for the week and did not want to give any profits back. See, it's one of the things that we teach. So he did good, right? NQ currently down 370 points from last night's open. I haven't had eyes on the market since 8:12 last night because he was done for the week. That's fine. That's, I know he may be listening. That's fine. When you're trading well, what happens is, and he knows this, and we know this, is you're not going to get it all. And it's going to feel like when you're trading well that you're leaving a ton of money on the table. And you will be. That's when you know you're trading well. So he's looking at Swing Machine saying, holy crap, I could have made another $7,000. But that's the little greed speaking to him. He had a great week. He had a profit factor of what, 4 to 5, and a net of 22,000. He did great. And he didn't work today. So you can't, that's he did great. And he did also what we teach to. So Scott, great. But I understand we're human, we understand that. But when you're working on changing, or I don't say changing your behavior, you're modifying and you're learning your behavior, you've got to replace, bad, maybe bad lessons with good steps, right? That's like with everything, right? Um, Susan just bought me blackberries. So I'm not eating junk, you know. So I'm gonna nibble on something. I'm gonna be nibbling on something good and not, something bad. Mm. All right, everyone. I just want to say again, thank you. Thank you, Scott, for sharing that. Um, and we're gonna need to turn things down. Hate to do that to you, but we're not going to be here. We're wrapping up. We'll punch up next week. If you want a scorecard, send us an email. Say, hey, Don, you promised me a scorecard. I'll send it to you. Make sure you push the notification button on YouTube so you know when we punch up. We can punch up. A lot of times we'll punch up in the evening hours. I'll be working. We'll run, until midnight or so, and then it'll go down. And then during the week, we'll try to punch up during the middle part of the day. Generally, Fridays we're wrapping up, and we'll give you a look. All I can tell you is that all of these trades could have gone in on your machine. A lot of the brokerages that you're using may not even allow you to do that. TradeStation does, right? So this trade could have gone in at 840, give it take a tick or two, which is like 1250, and you'd be in that trade. This one here would have gone in, you'd be up 7,000 with one. You got 10 of them, you're up 70 grand. I'm not saying you should do 10 of them, but you could be, right? But you've got to learn. Got to learn to drive the car, fly the plane, scuba dive, fly fish, quilting. You've got to learn the trading skill. It is an acquired skill set. Yours will be different from Zigrid's, different from Scott's, different from Darian's. Everyone will be different from Susan's. But, though you will be working, kind of on the same things. So good luck, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name. I'll be there in a hurry.
Okay, everyone. We're um, we're wrapping up, and hope you had a great week. We're going to come back next week and be doing it again. Remember, there are 20, if you're trading futures, 24 trading days in a month. If you trade on Sunday nights and Fridays, if you knock it down, if you take Fridays off, like um, Scott did. He's in Q school. This was his solo week, totally on his own. He had a profit factor of, I think, 4.5. I think we said, I don't have a score right up in front of me. He netted $22,000 on his own. 22. Um, that is a beautiful thing. But there are 20 trading days in a month. $100 a day, 100 a day is 2,000 a month. 200 is 4,000. 300 is 6,000. 500 a day is 10,000. Do you have the patience? Do you have the discipline? It's incremental. You can't lose 20 pounds of weight in a day. It's incremental. It's like anything else. Can't catch all the fish in a day. Step by step by step. We're going to try to help you get there. Feel free to give us a shout. Have a great weekend. Push the notification buttons for when we punch up and you'll know. And again, monthly members get a video view of all of our algos every night, chock full with opportunity. If you had acted, we showed everybody, you can go back on Monday, look at our Monday live sessions. We came here, we showed everybody all the stuff that was in Euphoria. Even last night, Adobe, our members saw this, Adobe getting a put debit spread on before the close yesterday. Adobe down $30. How much would that option have paid you? There's just, there was a ton of them. They're not there anymore, right? You can't be waiting. You've got to know, and that's what these tools are doing. They are searching for the opportunities and presenting them to you. You just need to be diversified in your skill set and work on your confidence. And that's what we help you try to do. And we spend 3 weeks doing that with you. And we want you to do well. All right. Have a great rest of the weekend. It's going to be a great week next week. It's going to be a great market. You talk about volatility the next few years, off the charts. Have fun.